This is a short video on how I sharpen very small knives on my EdgePro Apex. So, typically, the EdgePro Apex comes with this hex head screw or bolt, and it fits into this piece right here. And it goes on the back side of this body piece into that slot. And it sits there so that this piece can fit on top of it. It can slide up and down, and it's tightened by this wing nut right there. So I can move it up, tighten it, and begin sharpening. The problem is that some of my knives are too small to span this gap right here. So, perfect example of that is my Grayman Dua. Now, if you look right there, you can obviously tell that that's wide enough. But when you put your thumb stud, which is double-sided, against here, this part of the edge is much farther out from here than this part. And that causes inconsistencies in the sharpening. And if I were to rotate it much, I could maybe get it, but that's assuming I can keep it perfectly still while I'm rotating it. And this is farther out even than this. So now, how do you sharpen a knife like this then? Well, for the same reason, I have problems sharpening my mini LUD or my mini UDT. I can't get very much of this knife on here and span over top of this. It's just too much. So what I've developed is this piece of G10. Just a scrap piece of G10 that I had that I drilled a bunch of holes in with the drill press. And this is what allows me to sharpen shorter, stubbier knives. And I'll show you how I did it. So it starts with getting a longer screw. So at my house, I have a lot of extra screws, and you can tell that there's a big difference. So it doesn't fit perfectly on there, but since these are all plastic parts, except for the screw, they'll all fit kind of snugly together and they won't rotate around when I am tightening them. So basically what I do is I take this piece and I put it over top of my G10. And I take my rail piece and I put it beneath again. So now I have the G10 right there along with my EdgePro plate. That all sits nicely like that. And then I put the wing nut back on. I kind of semi-tighten it just so it'll stick a little bit better. And then I can move this entire apparatus all the way to the front. That's kind of where I lock it in. So sometimes I have to use like a screw to make it all the way tight, but hand tight on this is usually good enough that this won't move when I'm sharpening the knife. So now that I have this done, I can adjust this back a little bit, and those holes right there I specifically made so that I can sharpen my Dua. Now I have a pretty consistent spot where I'm going to be sharpening the entire time. No, it's not going to be exactly the angle that's on my sharpening rod or like the guide rod, but I don't really care about exactly what edge I'm putting on my personal knives. If I sharpen knives for other people and they want a specific like degree, then I'll use an angle finder. But other than that, I just kind of match the original angle on my personal knives. So by having this small piece right there, I'm able to sharpen my Dua. But not only my Dua, I can now sharpen my mini UDT. If I move this all the way up here, I can put this just like so. And that holds everything at a consistent edge, and I'm not going to be grinding away at my plastic piece. So it's just a simple homemade solution to retrofitting your EdgePro Apex.